In this last video, I wanted to go over 8 toxic things that parents should always avoid saying to a child. Remember, toxic parenting is parenting that undermines a child's sense of safety, trust, and value and worth. Toxic parenting, especially these types of toxic statements, can lead to a child feeling devalued, ashamed, or belittled and judged. Our words have meaning and they are powerful. Our children look to parents to help them get a sense of self and value and worth. And the younger the child is, the more important it is that we are very aware of how we're talking to our children. So these are 8 statements that we should be avoiding at all costs. The first is any kind of statement that is offensive about a child's appearance. Could be about their weight, about their body type, about their skin, about their hair, especially things in which they have no control over. So we want to be very mindful of those statements. Second, we want to avoid provocative statements about a child's actions or behaviors. Those statements could sound something like this. Why do you chew that way? Why do you walk that way? Why do you run that way? Just the word why implies judgment and then puts burden on the child to feel like they have to justify or prove their value or worth. The third thing that we want to avoid are any statements that make a child feel like they're a burden, like, oh, you absolutely exhaust me, or your activities are so expensive, or most of the week is taken up with trying to get you from one activity or extracurricular or obligation after another. The fourth thing that we want to avoid are unhealthy comparisons. Statements such as, why can't you be more like your brother? Why can't you be more like your sister or cousin or friend? Unhealthy comparisons that we are making undoubtedly lead to self-doubt and unhealthy comparisons that our children start to internalize. We want to avoid undermining statements such as, are you sure you can do that? Do you really think that's realistic? Don't you think that's setting a goal a little too high? Are you sure you can handle that? So this basically gives the message that we don't believe in them, and if we're not believing in them, it's going to be very hard for a child, especially the younger child, to believe in themselves. We want to avoid empty promises. We're all good intentioned, but we have to be careful. When we make statements such as, oh, I'll do that later with you, or we'll do that later, that undermines a child's sense of trust. Or statements such as that are used as bargaining tools, which is, well, if you do this, then I'll do this for you. It teaches that the things that we will do for our kids are conditional on either something they do, or we can teach them that something that we say we won't necessarily follow through on. We want to avoid anything that is a veiled or an overt threat of abandonment. Things such as, oh, I should just run away, or I'm going to go on vacation and never come back, or statements such as, boy, if I wasn't around, you would really appreciate me then. Again, healthy children need to bond with us as parents. They need to feel safe and secure, and if they are feeling like their behavior might result in a parent leaving them, then we're destroying that foundation. And then lastly, we want to make sure that we're avoiding selfish statements or selfish wishes, such as, boy, if I had known parenting was going to be this difficult, I wouldn't have had kids, or maybe I never should have had kids, or boy, no one told me it was ever going to be this hard, or boy, I wish I didn't have anyone to worry about other than myself, or I miss the days of just being able to do what I want when I wanted before I had kids. Again, the idea here is for many of us, we know when we're tired, upset, it's very easy to let these things slip out. Hopefully being more aware of these statements and how they really are interpreted by children will help us be more mindful and make sure that we avoid making such statements.